Namaste and welcome to our podcast on Satya. Dr. Singh, please hold up your book, Satya Poems to My Father. As you know, viewers, we have been discussing this book almost poem by poem and trying to uncover its deeper meanings and also symbolism. So, without further ado, I want to invite Dr. Singh to read poem it's not numbered, but the poem is called Carrying On and it's on page 32. So, viewers, you've been seeing how this poem about the death of a very dear departed parent, the father of the speaker or of the poet, also becomes an occasion for a deeper reflection on the meaning of life and the afterlife, if you will, and how death is not a permanent cessation in this book, but a continuous onward journey to higher realms of light, and in fact to rebirth, you know. And rebirth in this case is really new creation. We have to detach the idea of rebirth from simply the samsaric cycle of taking body after body. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We are reading this collection poem by poem with the poet himself, which is a very rare privilege, as you know. So thank you, Dr. Singh. Thank you for joining us. And may I please request you to read Carrying On.
Carrying on. I'm falling into pieces, trying to keep you intact. You showing up as I disappear, but you're no longer the same, nor am I. Yet, last night you gave me directions to a place. The way was arduous and complex, going through a maze of streets and strange buildings, the lanes of an old city in a four-dimensional scan. I got lost. Near the temple, as I entered from the same door twice, going around in circles, the priest confused me even more. Then you appeared and showed me the way again. Take a right past the temple, go under the first bridge, over the second, stay the course, come to the highway and the sunlit path. Then just keep going and do not stop. Even in sleep, in dream, even in death, you are still directing us. How typical.
Wonderful. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, the title itself, Carrying On. One of the most difficult things in life is to carry on, whatever it is we are doing. And after, a major upset or setback, especially the death of a parent, it's very difficult to carry on because so much of our psychic energy is tied up with that person. So this poem really is about finding, the energy to carry on.
It's also a dream I had after he passed away. So not exactly in these words, but my father was a very precise man, very orderly, structured man. Everything had to be done, I wasn't. And so everything had to be, everything had to be directed. This is precise directions. You're going to take 5 blocks and you're going to take a left and then you're going to walk 13 steps and on the left side will be the door. I mean, such precision in even directions. So this was a dream after he had passed away, and sometimes you get into a muddled dream. Have you had one where you're just going around in circles? It's like that famous artist, right? Remember that artist? You keep repeating yourself.
Yes.
It's a very I forget his name, but he was quite famous. He had these mazes and labyrinths where you just keep connecting to the same path. You're repeating same thing, and it changes. You go Mobius strip, and then you come right back. So that's how I found myself in the dream. I was repeating myself. And then suddenly he appears and he cuts through the chase. He just breaks the cycle, says, you I was entering a temple, I was coming out of the temple, and the path took me back to the front of the temple. And I came out from the back of the temple. The next path brought me back to the front of the temple. What is happening? Even
I
in
was go-
the
I was going to come to that. I was going to come to that
yes,
that phantasmagoria of
phantasmagoric.
phantasmagoria of the dreamscape. I was coming to that,
Yeah,
but
okay, okay.
I just wanted to ask you about carrying on the title. But
Yes.
since we've carried on from the title,
No, so I was trying to carry on, but I was repeating myself. That's what I was trying to say.
true. See, it's very clear even at the end how the dad is still playing a role. You see, we've
Yes.
had a lot of role reversals in this collection, but the role of directing you, the precision, and the help. We all need help. See, fundamentally, why did I bring in the dreamscape? Because the dreamscape is somehow connected with our present reality, but it's a different world. And the next poem I'm going to invite you to read is also about another dimension, similarly. But
Yes.
see, the father continues the role of helping, of directing you. But to go back to that so called psychic confusion, I found that, very interesting because, often we are looking for a way out. Here, maybe it was the temple, and we're going back round and round. So, we are in some kind of a jam, we're in some kind of a repetitive trap, like a chakravyu, and we all need help.
Yes.
So this father and son relationship that's coming out is so interesting. There are role reversals, there's birth, continuity, death, as well as rebirth, as well as moving on to another dimension. But the connection is still there. Now, so let me come back to this.
Yes.
What is, the maze of streets, the buildings, the lanes, the familiar and the unfamiliar. Now, in terms of the symbology of the poem, how do these two landscapes connect to each other? The landscape of, so to speak, everyday reality, and the landscape of the afterlife, or a deeper inner landscape which opens up in dreams. How do you think the two are connected? And then the symbol of the temple, because again, the temple is important. Uh, it's always a place where we come to for some sort of connection with the divine. So if you can elaborate on those things, and then I'm always interested in the imagery, like bridges, again, connecting images, lanes, bridges, the old city, finding a way out, the circularity, the highway. And finally, let's not forget the sunlit path, very important in Sri Aurobindo.
Yes. So I did not. Most of these poems were not written consciously, as you know. I mean, they came, and I just regurgitated them, and I sent them to you, and you have analyzed them more than I could perhaps. But now you can read it. It's an inscape. Perhaps it's my own psychology coming out, and all the things that have influenced me over the years are coming out. The temples. He loved temples. He was a great devotee, as you know, of Sri Krishna. But he loved every evening he had to go to one temple every day.
The Govinda
And
Devji, the Govinda
Gobind
Devji.
Dev Ji, Shri Krishna, or when it was too far, then Shiva, Jharkhand. And the great one very beautiful thing about him was he did not he was not pro Vaishnavism or Shaivism or Shakta. He was very open that way, and he was very open to uh, Maharshi Ramana. That was a very beautiful thing. Sri Aurobindo, very beautiful. So he was not a rigid man, but in instructions he was a very rigid man. Now, so carrying on is to me, it's a very loaded word. I'm carrying on without him. but he's here to help me so that I can carry on. But he's helping me break through my own traps. And that is something that kind of was very unique. In my dream, he comes and usually he was a very conservative, ancient Hindu family, brought up that way. But here he's breaking me out of a certain trap, as it were, of my own making, and I'm carrying on. So it was a double kind of a nuanced word which can mean both things.
Yes,
Carrying
yes.
on with the tradition of breaking through, or carrying on in the tradition of taking the temple journey and following his directions. It was an interesting, just
Totally. See, many times in our dreams, we are caught in a maze and we are trying to break out or break free of our own patterns because, as we've been saying in our other Amazing
yes,
Vedas podcast, it's only our own internal limitations that trap us and that restrict us, isn't it? So, and we need this help. We need this, you know, this energy from above, which in the tantras is called Shaktipat, a
yes.
kind of, almost a spontaneous descent of almost, like a lightning, a bolt of lightning from top, which breaks that inertia or which breaks that knot or that massified obstruction, so that then we move. And I also want you to sort of weigh in on the sunlit path, because the sunlit path to me harkens back to the Upanishad, where they tell you there are two paths after our passing. The smoky path that leads to the netherworlds, and then to the sunlit path that leads to the higher realms of light. And in the Delhi ashram, the
Yes.
road, the sunlit path is the road to Mirambika. It used to be. So we
It,
all are children of dawn, of ushas,
yes.
and we want to walk on that sunlit path.
So to me, of course, it's a reference to my own teacher, spiritual teacher, and he kind of, in a letter to a disciple, I think he recommended that he follow the sahaj, the spontaneous way of the heart, what he called the psychic being. And this is the being, this is our awareness of love, trust, gratitude, gentleness, gentle happiness, sweetness, and light is the way he described it. And disciples, when you're on the spiritual journey, a lot of challenges come up. The worst comes out of you, over which you have sometimes no control. Uh, Things you did not even think existed in you come out in such a nasty way, and you become despondent. You become disappointed with yourself, whatever this yourself is. And so he recommended, instead of fighting, struggling in the mind, or in being a warrior in the prana or the vital, he said, follow the easy path of the psychic, and then it becomes sunlit. Then you don't have the reversals. You take 5 steps forward and then you have 6 steps back. You will not have that. Then it's a smooth passage, almost a protected passage. In my experience, that has been the right guidance. It took, of course, even discovering this sunlit path is a long journey, but once you find it, then you almost kind of, you're in a safe, ensconced, and you're kind of moved around. And yes, good things happen, bad things happen, but you are still feeling in that little cocoon, as it were, and you're in that in that armor of the sun, or the light of the sun. Of course, the sun has a significant message or meaning for those who understand the ancient symbolic meanings that comes to us from mythology, from the Veda, from the Egyptian, our historical Akhenaten, if you remember, even the concepts of Parmenides, the one, where everything returns, all the rays return. So that sunlit path kind of brings me to my spiritual inner seeking and aspiration, where everything is smooth and gentle again, despite all the reversals.
Yes, and in a way, it's a reciprocal path for father and son. Uh, and as you said, then just keep going and do not stop. I mean, once we've found the sunlit path, we have to keep walking it, you know. There's no stasis on this journey. Even in sleep, in dream, even in death, you were still directing us. How typical. So that slight tension between the father and the son who's found his own path, slightly different from the dad, and sometimes to the dad's annoyance, sometimes to the dad's concern that, you know, अरे तू तो भटक जाएगा, तू ऐसे करेगा तो
Yes.
ये हो जाएगा, you know, because of the risks you took, you know, of the so-called risks, because from his angle, the unconventional choices were very risky for him, whereas he wanted safety and security. So that's a very nice wrap up, Dr. Singh. Any concluding thoughts?
Yeah.
And then we'll come back for the next episode in the same poetry lab of ours. Yeah.
So the sun or Agni is in our ancient Vedic uh, tradition is invoked to be like our father. In fact, if you read the Agni Suktam, Sanaf Piteva Sun Vegne Supa Yano Bhava, be like a father to me. The Rishi invokes Agni, and Agni is maybe Chid Agni, which is the consciousness, your pure consciousness. He's asking the pure consciousness to be as like his father, so that the smooth path opens up. Swastaye, right? He says, so sanaf pite vasun vegne supa yano bhava sachasvana swastaye. So that be like a father to me, so I can have a smooth path towards benevolence, towards harmony and the self, swasti. So it is almost like a reversal somewhere psychologically, the father giving me again the sunlit path. So I somehow it connected, and all these, and only in dreams can you have those connections where the father becomes the fire, or the sun, and the sun becomes father.
Wonderful. Very good. So, and as you discover, you know, that connection, that deeper connection that persists even after the death of the physical body, and walking that sunlit path and finding, you know, that solace in that energy which is the fire, the purifier, as well as the guide and the solacer, you actually become centered in Satya, the truth of our own self. Thank you, Dr. Singh. And thank you, viewers. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel on the Auroveda podcasts. And see you soon. Namaste.